Now this is a mixing setup on an MPC2 software. And so I got a bass drum here. And if I come to here and I go right down to here, I can get an SP1200 ring it claims. It claims this is going to happen. That's not the way an SP1200 sounds. But this is what they're saying. But you can stop all this because now the real one's out. Yeah, first they were just DJs, rappers, all kinds of stuff happened. Then, of course, in the studio, we got rappers, DJ, Echo. These guys had a band. They were so big. This guy, LL Cool J, all beats on his album. And of course, Ice-T's the same way. And the Beasties were rocking it in the beatbox too. And you know this, it's Criminal Minded.
You know what?
Here, this guy uses a beatbox. We like the party. There's no sampler. Nothing going on here, and that's rock him. But you know something? It had to change.
I came from a tradition of making pause tapes. If you heard of a piece, you'd have to record it, rewind it, get that piece back, record it, rewind it, get that piece back, record it. We're trying to get that, like, for hours and hours.
And that's what we were doing in the studio for some artists. They would come in with a DJ, and then we would get one section, get the next section. We would chop the tape up, splice it, and then tape it back up with another piece so we'd have a long enough piece to do it again with. And then the Emulator 2 gets released. And this is a sampler, a huge sampler. It can do everything. But it costs about $10,000 with all the bells and whistles. Now next I have Marco Alpert. He's going to explain what happened next at EMU Systems.
Let's be the first 12-bit drum machine. I weren't 16-bit at all at that time. Let's be the first 12-bit drum machine. And we did a drum machine called the SP12, which really drew its look and its interface from the Emulator 2 style, and I'd done the interface on that as well. But let's put the ability for people to sample a sound or two of their own in it. So it had a complete set of sounds, as all drum machines did at that time in ROM, but we also put some RAM in that people could sample one or two drum sounds of their own to customize it.
Now this changes everything. You can now buy an SP12 and have the same type of sound you would have with the Emulator 2. It was smaller, it only had 5 seconds of sample time, but it was enough for you to start making tracks. Rather than using a pause tape or bringing a DJ in, you can work on ideas. In 1987, EMU's SP12 became the largest selling sampler drum machine, and no one really knew why.
And this was a huge hit, but what people were telling us is, we want more memory, we want more of our own sounds. So we eventually expanded that to the SP1200, and what we did then was take out all the ROM and make it all RAM and put a little disk drive on it. And we delivered disks with sounds, so if you wanted to use those stock sounds, you just put it in, but if you wanted all your own sounds, you had all the RAM for yourself. And what we saw people starting to do is sample not drum sounds, but instrumental loops, sampling other records and the like, and it became one of the first big tools of the rap and hip hop world.
They increased the amount of sample time to 10 seconds. That's not a lot of seconds. And a lot of you guys I know watching this video probably have way more than that. But you got to realize something else is going on in the background that had been happening in the business. And that was copyright infringement. They were thinking these DJs and rappers were bad. They were just stealing other people's music.
Traditional side was, this is a very lazy way of songwriting and making records.
I've made records with a lot of people. As a creative tool, like for someone to use a sample of an existing piece of music and then for their music, I think it's extraordinarily lazy artistic choice.
And those 10 seconds of sample time helped the rap business. That's right, because they didn't sample long loops. They used the Sp1200 to sample drum sounds, to sample hi-hats, kicks, snares, tambourines, anything they could get that was small enough to create a beat. The big thing about the SP1200 was the boom and the bap. Now, if you want to sample loops, no problem. You put the record on the turntable, you turn the speed up. You go to 45, you go to 78, you sample. And then you pitch it down inside the SP1200.
Large Professor taught me things that got me to another level. The way he truncate beats, he was like, and he was doing it almost like he was doing a magic trick. And I would just stare at him just like, damn, how do you do that? He taught me how to take it to that level. And the SP1200 had the littlest bit of sampling time, but I like the limitation so that you're forced to be creative with that little bit of time and still make an ill-ass beat.
Okay. What we had down here on the 950. Yeah, I sampled some crazy sounding, look, listen at that. Like just weird sounding stuff. All kind of stuff, man. What we had all together, after I finished with it, wow.
In 1986, Akai released the S950. It worked perfect with the SP1200. The combination was awesome. Here's an example. I want to record that. Cool. Let's find that bass line. I'm gonna start recording that sound. I like 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. See, I'm looping the sounds up in my S950 using my SP1200 to trigger the sounds. Even while this program's going along, I can even edit some samples. I can go along here. I've got my loops going. You know, I'm gonna do a change that bass sound. I'll go and maybe make it a little darker or something. I may go back to here and look for the key group that bass is on. Oh, there it is right there. I've named the sample. I'll go to this key group. You know, I might want to filter it down darker, bring it down.